Welcome to a spark of awareness. We live in a time where we are constantly being stimulated, prompted by systems, by algorithms, by AI. But when we outsource our answers, we slowly give away our authority, our inner voice, our self-mastery. Conscious leadership has no shortcut, no hack, and it can only begin from within. It is the courage to stop escaping and to sit with what's alive and present inside, even when it's very uncomfortable, but that's where growth is. And this podcast is a space for that. This podcast is an evolution. And every week, I will share a 15-minute human prompt, live, non-performative. It is a moment of reflection drawn from my work in conscious leadership, from the journeys of the leaders I coach and accompany, and from what is moving in a collective film of what is humanity and leadership. I am Sophie, a conscious leadership coach and guide of transformation. I support leaders who are crossing the threshold right now from the old system of leadership, a legacy, into a deeper, more conscious way of being. If the traditional model no longer resonates, know that you are not alone, and that is your weekly practice. This is your time with your inner world. This is your weekly spark of awareness. Welcome. So welcome to a new episode of A Spark of Awareness. So today I felt very much the call to cover the drama triangle, or if you are familiar with it, also called the triangle of Karpman. So what's the drama triangle? And I see this so often play out in business relationship, co-founders dynamic, client, partners, romantic relationship. So everything that I'm going to share, which is, again, not rocket science, but a good reminder, is going to help all the relationships in your life. So the drama triangle has 3 pillars that creates drama. The first one is being the rescuer. And I'll go through each of them briefly, but for now I'll list them: rescuer, victim, and persecutor. Those are the 3 pillars of the drama triangle. And in a dynamic, especially in dynamic between 2 people, we will always take a role in this triangle when there's drama, a conflict. So for example, I'll go through them now. Rescuer, you tell yourself you're the one to fix the situation, to save the situation. For example, you believe deep down that someone from your team can't do the job or are, I don't know, helpless, and they need you. So you're going to help, you're going to rescue because you believe that they can't do it. And as you believe they can't do it, that same person in your team will start to act as a victim. Someone who is not having agency, someone who's not taking responsibility or accountability, and they would want to be saved because you already signaled to them that you're going to save them. So here we already have a dynamic of rescuer, victim. Okay, I'm the leader, the manager. I'm going to help you do this job because deep down I know you can't do it. And then the person receiving that is like, yes, I'm helpless, I can't do this. And how does the persecutor start to play in that dynamic? Let's say you, as the leader here, you actually expect that person to do the job and be autonomous. You are helping, you don't realize that you're rescuing. And then the person is becoming more and more reliant on you, more dependent on you, and you start to grow frustration. And then you say, well, I'm not going to help you. I'm going to let you figure it out. But then the person doesn't understand. The ones in a position of victims, like, well, you helped me so far. I told you I needed you, and now you don't want to help me. So the resentment grows on both sides, on the side of the rescuer and on the side of the victim. And eventually, in this triangle drama, you start on both ends to see a persecutor. Myself, let's say in this scenario, I'm the rescuer. I will start to see the victim here as the persecutor is he or she is trying to manipulate me. They're trying to move away from responsibility. They are lazy. So you see how it starts to spin and tell stories. They are lying, they are manipulative, they are not reliable. So they become the persecutor already in my story. And I'm going to sit on the side of a victim. My boss was helping me. I thought I knew what had to do, and then suddenly it doesn't help me and blame me for not knowing what the heck. I think my boss is really not professional, not reliable. I think I could count on him, her. I thought I was safe. I'm not. And I think she's or he is a toxic boss. And already on the victim side, the story plays to see a persecutor. And this is the dynamic that plays, and at some point we take the different roles. Maybe myself as the boss, I'll be the victim because, I don't know, the situation explodes, other colleagues start to hear about it, the top management hears about it, and then it escalates in a big drama. I'm sure maybe you've witnessed that or you've experienced that yourself. And then you tell, as a boss, it's like you become the victim. It's like, well, I really try to give the tools to that person to show them the path. And that's how they thank me. And now everyone is against me, thinking I'm a toxic boss. It's unfair. It's unfair. I didn't deserve that. And suddenly the boss is in a position of a victim. So we swap the roles. And the key is, as long as we stay in the drama triangle, we take one of those roles. Why is this important to be aware about that? It's each time you are in a conflict, you are in a drama, you can catch yourself immediately and ask yourself, oh, which role am I taking right now? Just create awareness. And maybe you can also create awareness with the other person involved. Hey, I think we are right now in this triangle. It's an invitation also to let the other person know. But that would be the first step. And when you're not aware of it, those stories, my team member is lazy, my boss is toxic, and then this becomes a narrative, and then all the actions start to build around that. And I saw this snowballing so many times where at some point the people can't work together anymore and one has to leave. Usually, because of the power dynamic, it's the team member that has to leave, not the boss. And that creates a lot of harm, a lot of negative spiral. And I can tell you a team member leaving is going to continue to spin that drama triangle in other circles. Wow, I left this place. It was so toxic. The boss was toxic, keeping being a victim. And then at some point, that same person will become a persecutor in other drama triangles. And the boss will probably continue in the drama triangle without awareness. It's like a poison that spreads throughout the organization, teams, and yourself. And it causes a lot of stress. So there's a way out and there's a way through. Before I share some way through, I wanted also to share my personal journey with that, because although I'm aware of it, when I'm entangled in it, it takes a moment to recognize it and get out of it. And I've known it when I was already leading teams a few years ago. I could stop it. I learned it also in coaching practices. I also teach that in my coaching practices. And still today, running my business with Orin, I find myself sometimes entangled in the drama. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Are we in that situation? So I remember it was last year. I was opening my second cohort for my retreat. And I had a beautiful group of women coming in. One of them, she was really excited to join the course. She didn't read the information. She didn't read the details. She didn't read the implication, because my coaching program are very intensive. They require a big commitment and responsibility for deep transformation. And I share all the details. But she said yes quickly. She paid. She got in. And then when she realizes the commitment, the work, the shedding that is required with the work, she started to panic a little bit and say, oh, it's not what I thought it was. And instead of taking responsibility, she started to blame me. So here we are in this drama triangle. She started to blame me as the persecutor. She was the victim, I was the persecutor. And instead of taking ownership, things happened to her. And I remember in that situation, I started to justify and explain myself, like, look, I have shared the detail, this is what I do. And then she continued that dynamic to diminish even more my work. And I thought, okay, this is not going well. This is first affecting me, then it's going to affect my work, and it's going to affect the women in the container. So I need to stop that. Without explanation, convincing her if it was the right program. She doesn't know me really. And so in the end, let's move away from trying to be right. Let's move away from trying to convince her that the program is high value, impactful. Let's move away from trying to convince her that this is the right program for her. Letting go. So despite everything she could have said, I decided to stop. I said, like, look, I understand it's not a match. Like, short sentence, not even continuing the drama. Let me refund you. Usually I would not refund. Let me refund you, and I wish you well. And we closed it very quickly. She got out of the container. She got out of all this work, and then it was a forgotten story within a few weeks. So what plays in the background? Why I'm sharing this story? Because when we get in the drama triangle, what is the part of us that want to be met? It's our ego. We want to be seen. We want to be right. We want to be understood. But we try to be understood with a person who's also entangled in the drama. So we will never get what we want because the person is going to press exactly the buttons that make us want more. To be seen, to be understood, to be forgiven, whatever mistake we've done. And you will not get that through in the triangle. So when you find yourself in the triangle, it's pretty straightforward. You get out of a triangle. You're neither the rescuer. You're not going to fix this. You're not the victim. Nothing happened to you. This dynamic, you both contributed to it. You take responsibility. And how you get out of it? You stop. You move away. You get out of this dynamic of a relationship. And to stop also persecuting, you stop reasoning. You stop convincing. You stop saying, I did this because of that. You stop communication. I know it's very hard. And when you feel tempted to write, you write it to yourself, you send it to yourself, and you will see you will release without having to actually send the message. All these days, people talk to ChatGPT. So this is great also as a release, as an outlet, without causing more harm. But I really ask you seriously, stop feeding the fire of this drama. And so what it invites you when you have to get out of a drama is to regulate yourself, because you will feel very activated. You feel like, okay, I need to be understood. Yes, and in some way, no. So the hardest work is to sit with yourself and understand, where is the hurt for you now? Like I said, there's a desire to be seen, understood. How can you take care of that part by yourself? How can you have this inner dialogue? Maybe it's a wounded part of you. Again, as you've listened to my work, an inner child, a very profound part of you that has been longing to be seen and forgiven. How can you forgive yourself? How can you forgive a person? Maybe you talk and find someone to talk to, not a friend, but a professional to process this, not with a person in the drama. And what are you learning about yourself when you have found yourself entangled in this drama? What is the point of fragility? Because the more you work on that point of fragility, that source, the less vulnerable you will be to be entangled in drama, because there's nothing to hook you with. There's no ego to hook you with, because you know who you are. You don't have anything to prove. You don't have to prove you were right or you did the right thing. You know who you are, and for the mistakes you've done, you're going to forgive yourself. So that's the real work to do when you don't want to stay in the drama triangle. It's an invitation to develop yourself. So each time I take this as a learning. It's an act of compassion. And this is what is, I would say, the most profound skill in leadership, to yourself and to others you work with. So I'm going to share a few resources in the show notes. Please check out the Triangle of Karpman. There are many resources online. And if you're more interested in approaching it in a structured way, what I shared is really how to do the somatic work, how to free yourself being entangled from drama triangle. But if you want to move from it as a coach, you can invite people moving from being a rescuer to being a coach. So how can you ask questions for a person to grow instead of being a persecutor, inviting people to grow always? And last, instead of being a victim, nothing happens to you. How can you become a creator of your situation, your future, instead of receiving completely passively? How can you take full responsibility, ownership of your life? So I'm not going to detail that in this episode today because there are many materials online about that. But my main practice I wanted to highlight today was how can you develop your self-compassion and regulate yourself without getting into drama. And you'll see you have much healthier relationships, business relationship and partnership and clarity. And no one can get you in a drama. I can promise you once you've worked on those things, which are foundational. So that's it for today for the drama triangle. But let's ground then, as usual, for the end of this episode. So I'm inviting to close your eyes and connect with your breathing. Inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Just normal breathing and connecting with your body. Keep breathing. Inhale through the nose. Exhaling through the mouth. And as you have your eyes closed and you probably felt some movement, some activations, maybe some trigger from what I just shared, let it move through you. Don't act on it. Don't analyze it, interpret it. Just let it move, observe it. Which is what we're practicing here, to observe your emotions, your movements, your activations, and not act on it. And breathe in and come back always to your body and ground and feel your feet on the ground, your legs straight, your spine straight, your shoulders straight and relaxed, your head straight. And one last breathing together, deep inhale. And hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale through the mouth. And just stay in a moment of silence right now. Observe how you're feeling. Maybe a little more grounded, less in your thoughts. Thank you, and I'll see you next week. Thank you for tuning in into this weekly reflection, a weekly spark of awareness. After this episode, I invite you to take a few moments with yourself, even just 15 minutes, to sit with what resonated, to breathe, and to notice what is shifting inside. This is a practice, a discipline of presence, truth, and self-connection. If this work speaks to you, I accompany leaders in one-on-one journeys and group experiences of transformation, supporting them as they cross the threshold into a truer and freer way of leading and living. If you feel called to explore this path, I would love to hear your story, and let's connect. Sending you love and courage, and have a great week ahead. This is my spark of awareness.